My name is Bob Murphy, and I work for Pixit Media. Pixit Media is a developer of storage solutions for the film and video broadcast industry. We started in 2010. That's right when super high resolution 4,000 by 4,000 film editing came out. That's when a product called the Red Camera came out that people started to deploy in the film industry. The first major motion picture that used that technology was The Social Network. And we came in with IBM's Spectrum Scale storage product that has the performance and the bandwidth and the capacity to deal with those resolutions. We quickly became the dominant provider of that technology in the United Kingdom. Most of the Star Wars movies that you see, the big famous Game of Thrones, all the big video effects that you see in both film and also television commercials, most of that was done on our product in the United Kingdom. And now we're bringing that technology to the United States. Just to put it into a bigger perspective, when you see a blockbuster movie like Thor or Black Panther, the principal photography takes place in a few weeks, maybe a month, 2 months at the most. And then what happens is that that principal photography is it's all been digitized, and two people end up in a room together for the next 10 months. That's the director and the editor. And that's how much effort, expense, time is spent proportionally on what you see, the real life characters, backgrounds, and what you see, video effects. Even movies that you don't think are have a lot of video effects, most of the background, most of the scenes are actually put in after that principal photography. A lot of times those actors are in a green screen environment, and they basically can put anything behind them that they want. And that's how important this technology is to modern film and video production. What IBM Spectrum Scale does provide is, we talked about this high-end editing before, and that requires a tremendous amount of performance and bandwidth to these editing workstations. And that's increasing every year. Right now, we're at 4K by 4K. The industry is about to move to 8K. And that's a quadrupling of bandwidth again. We're also going to higher frame rates, and we're also going to higher color depths, high definition video, and also high dynamic range. So that industry is experiencing what we call Moore's Law in the computer industry in multiple dimensions. And that's what's freaking them out, is how do they keep their workflows current in that environment. Sure, 10 minutes of 4K video is perhaps a gigabyte, and then 8K is 4 times that, so that's 4 gigabytes, and then the more frame rates, that goes up proportionally, so we're at 24 frames per second. People are looking at 40, 60, 100, 120 frames per second, so that's all geometrically more and more data, and more, even more importantly, more faster movement of that data to the editing workstation. But what I was trying to say before is that IBM Spectrum Scale has that capability to do this very high performance movement of data to an editing workstation. And meanwhile, all the producers and the executives in the studio, even during the editing process, want to keep track of how the project is going along. Remember, we talked about these two people are locked in a room for months together to get the movie done. but they just want to keep abreast of what's going on. So while they're looking at that data in a very high performance environment, IBM Spectrum Scale provides the capability to allow people in what we call the house network to look at dailies in a more conventional infrastructure. Typically, what's happened in the past is there's typically two storage systems. One is this fast environment, the other is the slower environment, and the companies have to keep track of what's where. IBM Spectrum Scale keeps it all together, so you can have fast and slow all interacting in the same file system, same namespace. That makes it very unique in the industry. It makes it much easier to manage where the data is from a studio's perspective. We are, and another IBM technology is very important in that space. That's called IBM Spectrum Protect. It's a technology. As you know, these assets are billion-dollar a year revenue streams for them. So the biggest studios rely on IBM Spectrum Protect to protect that asset for decades into the future. IBM Spectrum Protect is based on IBM tape technology, yes. Yeah, so that's all IBM tape-based technology for sure. If you go into these studios, into the data center, they'll take you right there. They'll say, what's the most important thing in this room? They'll take you right to the IBM tape library. This is where our movie is. And if anything were to happen, and they only could take one thing out of that data center, like a fire or something, that's what they would take out, because that's where their most precious IP is. That's a good question. I think again, our success with it has been focused on the UK lately. So as we start deploying it in the United States, maybe there's a chance there that Spectrum Scale will get its long overdue Academy Award.